left onto Brockway Drive, then turn right onto M36.
Practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases.
At the light, turn right onto M36.
Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life.
In half a mile, turn right onto Farley Road.
To try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Did you know there's more than one Las Vegas? There's the Strip, families, vacation, and questionable odds. And there's downtown Vegas, the original gambling and entertainment mecca. That's where you'll find the View Las Vegas when you're staying today at the D.com. The View Las Vegas, your home for sports in Vegas.
Work out fresh every day. By getting everything from endurance rides to restorative yoga, all right at home. A Peloton bike, only light working out from home.
Turn right onto Farley Road.
Peloton.com to learn more.
This hour of instant feedback brought to you by Mike Ferrero of National Benefit Plans. For affordable life insurance, log on to nbphealth.com.
In 1.9 miles, turn left onto Swarthout Road.
Baseball to 72881 for your chance at $1,000.
Torrential downpours as unscathed as you could. That was not. I mean, very rarely do we have a weather event that I will say I've never seen anything like that before. But when a storm rolls through, it's not unusual for it to just come to like when you're looking outside, it looks like somebody just has a fire hose pointed at the earth and just blasting away. It did that all night long, Friday into Saturday. And I'd never seen anything like it. I got up Saturday morning and I went and I checked my basement. I was worried about my basement. And
In 1 mile,
thankfully, there
turn
was
left
no,
onto
very
Swarthout
fortunate to have
Road.
no flooding. Lojo tweeted out, of course, from the station here. Restoration people here, and most of the flooded basement is unsalvageable. Again, not complaining, just explaining. Workers said they've been cleaning out basements in the Grosse Points nonstop.
Yeah, it's brutal. And so is Wojo's basement, even when it wasn't wet.
Did you get down there?
Yeah, it's well, what? It's you got carpet or whatever and other stuff that's going to be destroyed. But Wojo has a collection of newspapers that goes back decades.
So somebody asked him about that, and he said, no, the newspapers made it.
Wow.
Tell me you didn't lose your 30 years of old newspapers. Nope, completely dry. Won't you respect?
Wow. Curious what did get those people rugs or carpets out.
What was the craziest thing you saw this weekend?
Cars that were covered in water above the side mirrors. SUVs.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. I mean, I guess I can't because I've seen it before, but it was just so
Turn
many.
left onto Swarthout Road.
That was just startling.
Every time these flood videos come out, you, without exception, see that shot of the road that goes under the trestle and 4 or 5 cars stuck in water up to the doors, right?
Yeah.
And
At the next stop sign,
you
turn
always
right.
go, what were those people thinking? And then this weekend, I was out driving, and 4-lane road, and there was a puddle, there was a car ahead of me, and I looked at the puddle, and I'm like, that's not a big deal. I started through the puddle, and about halfway, I was like, whoa, this is a lot more than I bargained for. I switched lanes. I was in the right lane. I went to the left lane because the car on the left, I watched the car go through in front of me first, and I didn't think it looked like that big a deal. I'm driving a Jeep, and it's not, I don't know that I was ever in trouble, but I did underestimate how deep the water was. And then suddenly I realized how incredibly easy it can happen, how quickly it can happen, where you just don't think it's a big deal. And because you can't see the bottom, have familiarity with the road. I didn't think it would, but it got deeper than I thought. That's my point.
Yeah, I drove out to my parents' house on Friday night. I left my house at 6:15, and it had already been raining for maybe an hour or so, and been raining hard. As I'm leaving my subdivision, I'm already seeing that flooding is happening in people's front yards by the drainage ditches and stuff, and there's a house right at the beginning of my subdivision when you come off one of the main roads that is it's notorious for the whole front yard being flooded. And
At the stop
it
sign,
was
turn
already
right
started.
onto Pinckney Road.
I start on my way, I'm going down different streets, and I'm looking to my left, and I'm seeing homes that have some tents set up, because we'd heard there were going to be a lot of graduation parties this weekend and all that. And I know there were still a lot of graduation parties. These tents had already been set up, and I'm thinking, this isn't going to go well. I know this isn't going to go well. And then it took me a long time. It took me almost twice as long as it normally would take me to get to my parents' house. They don't live terribly far away from me. But I got to see a lot of different areas that were already starting to be bad because of the rain. Even just going through a subdivision at 20 miles an hour, and a car coming towards me, puddle completely drenched my car. I had the wipers going a whole bit, but for
In
2 seconds,
1.4
can't see
miles,
anything.
turn
God,
left
I
onto
walked,
West Schaefer Road.
Got to my parents, was there for a few hours, and then I drove home. And I drove home and it was dark. And that's where it gets scary, because that's where you can't see the puddles. Fortunately, there were some areas where there were puddles that police officers or firefighters over in Dundon had already put out some cones to alert you that, hey, there's a puddle over here. And by the end of it, I had to take a different route, because the cones were all across one of the main roads there, and so I had to reroute and get back onto a main road. But
In 1
it's
mile,
awful,
turn
because I
left
just
onto
know,
West
I know.
Schaefer Road.
When I sold a house 10 years ago, and I sort of know who the person is that bought my house, and by way of another friend, I found out 2 years later, when we had all those rains that had come in Royal Oak, and the homes were devastated by it, that I found out, your old house, the whole basement leaked. I'm like, well, that's terrible. It wasn't because of the house had been waterproof for that. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the sewage. The sewage got backed up, and when that happens, everything came through, and that's what happened to a lot of those homes out there. And people recovered from it, and it took forever. And now this happens again 7-8 years later, and it's devastating, particularly to the areas in towards the water, out towards Lake St. Clair.
Turn
St. Clair
left onto
Shores
West
is
Schaefer Road.
totally devastated by this.
The one video that went viral of the jet skier riding around in Dearborn.
You know how I feel about jet skis.
Yes, I know you know. Okay, when you work in the media, occasionally you get PR companies sending you emails asking you to do interviews.
Sure.
In 1.2 miles,
I
the
just got
destination
one
is on your right.
that I am
2208 West
intrigued
Schaefer
by.
Road.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't do a lot of interviews on this program.
We don't.
Turn right onto West
Maybe
Schaefer
1 or 2 a
Road.
year.
is this one you think we should consider?
I don't know. Good afternoon. This one starts.
All right, off to a good start.
Would you love to